Jay. Yeah, sure. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting of the Clay County Commission to order. We will begin with our invocation. Teresa, are you here tonight?
I think so.
Oh, I was looking in the, you're too fast for me.
Heavenly Father, I ask you to bless our commissioners with favor and grace, wisdom and insight. Lead and guide them in the way they should go to make Clay County, Missouri a great place to live, learn, work, and play. Strengthen them as they lead with vision and virtue. I thank you for your provisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That brings us to our roll call.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington? Here. Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
That brings us to approval of the agenda. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Discussion. Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter? Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Next, we have ceremonial matters. We have one topic under ceremonial matters. That's the honorary resolution for National Walk to School Day. And I'm going to recognize Commissioner Withington here, but I just want to say that it's one of those things that a lot of us have participated in. We certainly appreciate the opportunity, and it is it's a great way to kind of interact with the kids, their parents, and the teachers. So certainly looking forward to it this year as every year. Commissioner Withington.
Yeah, so joining us tonight.
Hold, Commissioner, your mic, please. There you go.
You didn't turn it on. So joining us tonight are several teachers, or principals rather, from the North Kansas City School District and one of their superintendents. So I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. It says, whereas National Walk to School Day promotes health, safety, community by encouraging children to walk and bike to school, and whereas active transportation reduces traffic congestion, improves air quality, fosters lifelong healthy habits, and whereas the North Kansas City School District has demonstrated leadership in student wellness through the district-wide commitment to active transportation initiatives, and whereas Briarcliff Elementary, Chotel Elementary, and Ravenwood Elementary have championed Walk to School Day with community engagement, and whereas these schools have partnered with families, local agencies, and safety advocates to create safer routes and promote vibrant neighborhood connections throughout Clay County. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Clay County Commission hereby recognizes October 1st, 2025 as National Walk to School Day in honor of the North Kansas City School Districts and its partnering schools in Clay County, Missouri, and commends the district leadership, principals, staff, students, and families for their dedication to building healthier, safer, and more connected communities. Be it further resolved that special recognition is given to Briarcliff Elementary, Chotel Elementary, Ravenwood Elementary for the outstanding implementation of Walk to School Day initiatives. Be it further resolved that this proclamation be presented to representatives of the North Kansas City School District and the above named schools at the Clay County Commission meeting on September 25th, 2025. So this is Ravenwood's, this is gonna be Ravenwood's. It should be our 11th year, but COVID screwed that one up. So this will be our 10th year. Briarcliff started first, then Chotel. So these three schools have done a really good job at promoting safe routes to school and healthy lifestyles. And yeah, just really happy that Dr. Amy Casey let me start this at Ravenwood Elementary, and then Dr. Foster let us continue it. And so it's always a great event. Most of these commissioners have been there. Joanne and Jay, plan to see you guys there this year. You're the only two that haven't made it yet. Not to put you on the spot.
Got a bad knee.
But yeah, it's always fun, and yeah, thank you guys for coming tonight.
Would any other commissioners like to comment on the resolution? Would any of the honorees like to come up and just share some thoughts on the event that comes up? If you would, please come on up. By the way, for anyone who cares to speak to the commission, when you come up to the podium, make sure that you press the button so the green light is on, state your name, and then proceed.
My name is Derek Hutchinson. I'm the principal of Choteau Elementary. I'm grateful for the honor here tonight by the Clay County Commission, so thank you so much. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our community partners that play a big role in this, particularly the Choteau Estates Neighborhood Association that does a lot of work advocating for walkable spaces around Parvin and Jackson that make our neighborhoods safe for our kids to walk. But I love the connections that we're able to make, particularly with the retirement center next door and the rehabilitation center, which is where we start our walk. It's a highlight for our students and for those folks that live there and that are recovering there, because it's a chance for us to connect with them. We're able to break a little bread with them and to have some time to have a drink before we're walking down to school. And it's those connections in our neighborhood and building those with the students that mean a lot to us. So it's about the walking, but it's also about the connections we're able to make along the way to build those partnerships and people who support us, and we want to support them too. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. Laura Foster, principal at Ravenwood Elementary. And this is our 10th year, and I'm really excited and grateful for Mr. Withington for this opportunity. It is a great event for our community to come together, but more importantly, we're really grateful for all of the opportunities to celebrate our North Kansas City schools. In particular, it really brings together our feeder pattern. So we get all of us involved, K-12. We get our band to come down, our cheerleaders. It's a great opportunity for our students to see what their futures in North Kansas City look like. Transportation helps us with busing parents back up if they don't want to walk. Quick Trip allows us to use their parking lot. Clay County Sheriff's Department comes and supports traffic flow. And so we're very grateful for not only the health and wellness aspect, but we're also grateful for just the way our students get to see their future selves. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Go ahead and press your button.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am Jonalee Searcy, and I'm the principal at Briarcliff Elementary. I appreciate you inviting us here tonight and recognizing our school as well as the district. So this is Briarcliff's, I think it's 23rd or 24th year with Walk to School Day. And it is obviously a tradition within our community. We start in Briarcliff Village, and we partner with some of the businesses there, Head Rush Coffee, and we partner with some other Northtown businesses for hot chocolate. And we also get to partner with our Northtown feeder pattern, and they lead our walk all the way down Briarcliff Road and up. It's quite the little jaunt up to Briarcliff Elementary. So, and when we gather at Briarcliff, we have donuts on the playground, and families just get to enjoy a slow morning with their kids and just all the community being together. So again, we appreciate you inviting us and recognizing us for this event that we do every year.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
There are no comments from commissioners. We will go ahead and come forward and have some pictures up here front. Then we will begin. We will once again pick up on our agenda where we left off.
Wrote that so notes down. Yes. Good hands, I'm sure.
Next on our agenda are members of the public, if they would like to comment. So is there anyone here who would wish to address the commission on any subject? Seeing none. That brings us to public hearings. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, good evening. We have a public hearing tonight is 2025 tax levies. It was advertised in the newspaper publicly last week, and this will be our public hearing tonight in case anyone has any questions or any regarding that. You'll also see later on in the agenda, it'll be on the regular agenda as well.
Thank you. With that, we will open the public hearings. Is there anyone from the public who would like to come forward and make any comments on the 2025 tax levies? Is there anyone who would like to come forward and make comment on the 2025 tax levies? Anyone wanting to come forward and make comment? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Thank you. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, tonight from the consent agenda, we have 4 items. First one is commission meeting minutes from August 21st of 2025, and for both the 5:30, 6 p.m. and August 28th at 6 p.m. meeting. We also have approval of invoice payments, item 2025-277 for the Clay County for the period of September 13th to September 19th. The amount was 308 invoices, totaling the amount of $593,811.22. Next one is 2025-280 is approval of a purchase of a new automated external defibrillator units from our risk management fund. And the last one is 2025-281, is appointment of 2 members to a tourism board and commission.
Is there a motion on this evening's consent agenda? Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next is our regular agenda. The first item on this evening's regular agenda is 2025-278. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, 2025-278 is invoice payments from our Clay County Prosecutor's Office, the dates of September 13th to September 19th of 2025. We have a grand total of 16 invoices totaling an amount of $4,036.46.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-278.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025-278. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Next item is 2025-276. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, 2025-276 is approval of a sole source grappler police bumper. We have our Captain Agdarian who will be here to expand more on the device that we purchased.
Captain Amy Agdarian, Clay County Sheriff's Office. 2 things before I get to this particular issue. Number 1, I am a 1996 alumni of UMKC. Congratulations, Chief. Glad to have you home. The second thing is, you guys, I learned how to put videos on this computer this morning. And so my presentations are going to be a whole lot more interesting from here on out. I'm so excited. All right, the grappler. What I would say before I show you this video is that, first of all, this is the only vendor that we can get this product from, first of all, which is why we are asking for approval as a sole source vendor. The second thing that I would say about this is there are a lot of neat tools that law enforcement has at their disposal. Okay, but this one, I'm particularly fond of this one. I will also say that it was on the radar of other people many years before now. Just to show you what a neat tool this could be, our own risk manager brought this issue to our fleet manager 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but it had come up several years ago, and we just could not pull the trigger. We did not have the resources. We just couldn't get everything in order. But the fact is, looking at it from a risk management standpoint, other departments in the county see that this could really be beneficial. And in light of what happened at Kansas City, Kansas Police Department last month, with that poor young man, that poor young officer who lost his life deploying stop sticks, when you see how this device is utilized, well, I don't really have words. So the grappler looks like a push bumper. And I'm just going to let this play for a little bit. There's no audio. And so I'm going to pause here. There is a technique that we utilize called the TVI. And the TVI can end a pursuit as well. But if you imagine a TVI, you have to make contact with the vehicle before you can mitigate the pursuit. There's a place and a time and a place for that intervention. There is also a time and a place for stop sticks. But I want you to watch in a heavily trafficked area what happens when this device is deployed during a pursuit. It stays in one lane till it crosses over. The motoring public is still safe. This guy, I mean, it's sound logic. I'm going to back up, I'm going to get some momentum, and I'm going to break free from this tether, right? So I'm going to do it again, and still sound logic. One more time. So, when we consider how easily and how effectively this pursuit was controlled, how it was ended, literally ended for that vehicle, and how no other motorists were in danger, I mean, yeah, we're going to buy this piece of equipment if we can. So to that, I would say, the Sheriff's Office has identified the funds, but we need your permission to pursue this as a sole source vendor with Grappler Bumper. So look forward to more exciting presentations in the future, because now I know how to do videos. Do you have any other questions I'm happy to answer?
Yes. Do you do freelance film work, or?
Are you going to come out and play with us?
You know, it would be a lot of fun. I had two questions, actually. One of them being, how close is the car supposed to get to the car it's pursuing?
Right. I brought up the TVI because I wanted you to see that I'm going to play this video for you again. Sure. In a TVI situation, the cars have to be overlapped a bit, and they have to make contact. Okay, to spin the other car out to stop the pursuit. In this case, you just have to be close enough for the bumper to open, roll forward, and then as soon as the net catches the back of the tire rolls it forward and locks it up.
So you need to be as close as the extension will
Yes,
accomplish that.
but you're not
space.
making contact with the other vehicle.
I see. It strikes me as safer. The other thing is, and it's, I think it's an obvious question, but I think it's one I'd like to hear you expand on, and
Sure.
that is, this has got to be much, much safer for our officers. It's got to be much safer for the general public, and even for the person being pursued. It's got to even, because I mean, the object that officers are trying to accomplish is to take this person into custody with as safe an atmosphere as possible. So it's really, for all three potential parties, the officers, the public, and even the object of the pursuit, this has got to be a triple win as far as safety goes. Am I reading this right?
You are, yes. And so obviously we still have stop sticks. That's a tool that we use to stop pursuits. The problem with stop sticks, even though again they still have their place, you can roll over stop sticks, you can roll on rims for a time, not very far, but you can still get away. And then there was another technology that we looked at, and I apologize, I do not remember the name of the technology, but it deploys like, you guys, this is some James Bond level stuff. It cracks me up a little bit, but it deploys like an air tag to the vehicle, so you can track it, which is great, but you're still gonna lose the vehicle. And I'm a talker. I am happy to talk for hours on end about whatever you want to talk about. But that video sums it up better than I could ever explain it. It stayed in the width of one lane. It moved sideways, but it never went into those other lanes of traffic where the other vehicles were. So yes, terrible for that vehicle, but the driver did it to himself. Safer for the officer because you never leave your vehicle. And safer for everybody else on the road.
Well, as you say, the other options have their place, but this sounds like of those three options, this is by far the one that is the safest for all involved.
It is.
Commissioner Lawson.
Not a question about this. I just want to say that to me, you're the face of the Sheriff's Department. You come so prepared, you know your stuff. I hope that the sheriff realizes what a gem he's got with you. If he doesn't, tell him, call me. And get down and give you a raise.
I'll let you tell him that.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Thanks. Yeah, agreed. And, saw the emotion talking about the officer who passed away recently. If I recall correctly, he was pretty young, like mid-20s, something like that. Obviously, it's always tragic, but feels extra tragic. And I know we had, to Commissioner Nolte's point, up for the fleeing suspect side of the equation. We recently had, I was at Highway Patrol, it was some kind of TVI stop that resulted in the death of the person fleeing.
Yes.
The car flipped, and so it makes a lot of sense to me that it's safer for everybody involved, that we ought to do this. And appreciate the video. That was fascinating to watch the whole back tires come off. I watch a decent amount. For those of you who don't know, there's a show it used to be called Live PD. It's now called On Patrol Live, which actually I think maybe to Sheriff Akins, because I think they expanded from just police departments into sheriff's offices, and so I think maybe that's why they changed their name. But for 8 hours every weekend, you can watch dozens of camera crews following police officers as they go about their jobs in cities around cities and counties around the country, including right here in Missouri. Christian County has a crew that follows them. Christian County is down between Springfield and Joplin. And I have watched many dozens, I won't say hundreds, but it could be hundreds of hours of the program. And I've seen a lot of the stop sticks and a lot of the TVIs. And I have never seen this utilized. I've never seen the wheels come off the back of the car. So to me, this feels like a big step up in safety for everybody involved. Just thrilled to be able to help modernize the sheriff's office in that regard. Another thing I'll say is, doing the ride along with the sheriff's deputy earlier this year, one of the things she mentioned was sort of the discussion around different jurisdictions that do and do not pursue. And some of the, sort of safety considerations that go into that. And I know that there is, at least I sense that there is a desire in the law enforcement community to be able to safely pursue in these situations and to be permitted to do so. So as to not, and tell me if you think I'm wrong about that, but to not let bad guys get away, basically, so we can enforce the law and have safe communities. And in your view, does this help make that safer and make sure that our sheriff's office can do that for years to come?
Yes, and so to your point about pursuits being, that's a hot button topic. Again, I've been doing this job for 30 years, and it's never not been a hot button topic. And we have gone from every extreme to pursue for everything to pursue for nothing. And the problem is that really hamstrings law enforcement from doing its job. Now, the problem is you have to allow for discretion. You have to make good decisions. You have to train your people. And I will say that Sheriff Aiken has invested incredible time and resources to make sure that our deputies have the best training possible and the best equipment possible. And to your point, this equipment, had we had access to this, I think about all of the pursuits over the years that ended badly, that didn't have to end badly, but still needed to be pursuits. Gosh, what a difference something like this would have made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. First of all, let me just say, Captain, that I'm always riveted by your presentations. You did not have to bring video forward. And probably the person who is thinking about this the most is Mr. Jones there, because we were always marveling at his PowerPoints, and now you have upped the bar. So now I look forward to seeing what Mr. Jones is going to do later today. On a more serious note, I am curious to know from a practical standpoint how or who or how many members of the Sheriff's Office will be trained on the use of this. And are we expecting everybody or a select number of folks, or just kind of what does that look like?
Right, so that's going to give me an opportunity to make another pitch that I was thinking about.
I'm glad to help you out.
Yes, it's like we planned it. We didn't, but so for whatever reason, and I don't have an answer why, this bumper cannot be placed on the Explorer or the Interceptor SUV. And as you know, most of our fleet are Interceptors. But Chargers, yes, we can do, I don't understand that, but we can put it on a Charger, we can also put it on full-size pickups, and we can put it on Tahoes. We have two Tahoes in the fleet that were canine vehicles that we are retrofitting now to be patrol vehicles, to purchase 2 of these bumpers to be installed on Tahoes. We are going to, with your approval, of course, but we would like to send 2 people to Arizona to have the bumpers installed and to also go through a training to become instructors in use of this equipment to all of our people, and also to UMKC police. If they decide that they want to purchase grapplers, we have instructors for you. So there will be 2 vehicles that we put this bumper on, but we will have instructors in-house that can train anybody at the Sheriff's Office how to utilize this equipment.
Gotcha. And so by the time you go through all those processes, assuming this passes tonight, which if I were a betting man, I think I know how that's going to roll, when are these actually out on patrol and on the streets?
Okay, so I have the requisition ready to go. So if I'm guessing, that's approved in 2 weeks. As soon as we can schedule the training, we will have them in Arizona and have them outfitted. It's my understanding that the only thing that we are waiting on the Tahoes right now is, again, those were canine vehicles, and so they had no back seat. So we are looking for cage inserts to retrofit the vehicles, and then they're going to be good to go.
Okay.
Let's see. So yes, and so by sending our trainers to Arizona, we are also saving some cost by not having instructors come here and having to do per diem and things for them as well. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, the last thing I'll just say is, should our colleague, the interim chief at UMKC, decide to move forward on something, I will simply ask that he doesn't deploy them Monday nights when I am adjunct instructing, because I would like to keep the back end of my truck if I can. So thank you very much.
Hey, so listen, that was an extreme video. That's funny. That was an extreme video. I just wanted you to see how strong the bumper is, the net when it's deployed, and why we put that only on certain vehicles that can withstand that kind of.
Well, I'm just hoping parking violations at UMKC don't cause those to be deployed. I'm just messing with you, but thank you very much. I appreciate the answers.
Right on.
Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you. Hi, Captain.
Hello.
Thank you for bringing us this lovely video. This is a very cool piece of equipment, and it seems to be a game changer, and I'm very excited for it. But I do have a question. So once it's deployed and it's been utilized, can you reuse it?
Gosh, it's like somebody. Yes, no, you can't reuse
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yes, there is a use for it.
Okay.
So once deployed, so these nets are $200 each. Once it's deployed, as long as it is in reasonably good shape, Grappler will purchase that back from us for $75, where they will do whatever they do with it, I don't know. But they're, so once it's used, as long as it's not completely shredded or torn up, we can sell it back to Grappler.
Okay.
But no, we're not going to reuse it. It's like stop sticks. Once they're deployed, we then have to, you can't use them again until they are refurbished.
So how many would you get then to have like ready to go? Because yeah, in my brain it was like you couldn't just like reel those back up and stick them back in there. So it's like that would be kind of silly. So, yeah.
No, so I asked them to give me a quote for 2 bumpers, training for 2 people, and 200, gosh, the $200 a piece, 20 extra bumpers, and the total invoice that I have ready to input in Munis with your approval is a little bit over $16,000.
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, so most of the police movies I've seen, they just shoot out the tires. I'm just wondering why you guys don't do that.
It's frowned upon.
It's frowned upon?
It's frowned
Okay.
upon.
Actually,
It has been done, but it's been a long time ago and not by
It's
us.
been a while. Now, obviously, it's just another tool in the toolbox. I think it's great. My question is actually for the county administrator. Why are we approving this? Is it because it's sole source?
Yes.
Do we have to approve all sole sources?
Yeah, well, regarding this one, yes, and the purchase is going to come from the fund it's coming from because it's a transfer within the fund, so.
Wait, say that again?
Because of that is also, was it a purchase that was the transfer within the fund?
Well, not that so much. I'm sorry if I
No, go
can
ahead.
jump in here. We have always made it a practice to bring sole source vendors to the commission for approval, and we do that on advice of purchasing. So I got to be honest, I'm not sure what the purchasing statute is that makes that necessary,
Yeah.
but that's just been our practice.
Okay. I'm always for streamlining government. If we had a system in place that makes sure that the sole sources are done correctly, I don't care to see them myself, but if that's the process everybody wants, I'm fine the way. But
Yeah, it could be looked at too as being maybe on the consent agenda for sole source items going forward. We can look
Okay.
at that.
Thank you.
But then you wouldn't have got the cool videos tonight.
Commissioner Withington.
Yeah, I was just going to ask the same thing, if we could put these going forward on the consent agenda. But have you identified whose Tahoe you're going to do?
Well, we only have 2.
Well, so, Ty waited a long time to get that Tahoe.
He's not driving a Tahoe anymore,
Oh,
though.
he's not? Okay.
No.
When I went to Arizona, every time I stopped in New Mexico and Arizona and they had Tahoes, I made sure to take a picture and show Ty that everybody else had Tahoes except for him, so.
No, they were canine, they are rotating to patrol now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lawson.
The only thing I was going to say to your question, right now, we've got a very responsible sheriff, a very responsible department. And anything that they would bring to us, for the most part, I would approve. And I wouldn't be uncomfortable about anything that they bring forward. And on these sole sources, we all have purchased things that you can only get from one person. So that's just the way it is. I think that it's wise that they bring them to us, because someday there may be somebody out there that is not as reputable, we always hope they are, but you know what I'm saying, and that are not as responsible as our staff we have now. So I think it's always wise to have that especially on sole source. I think it's wise for them to have that, because too often somebody can say, oh, my buddy does that, let's do it on sole source. And if there isn't a fail-safe check, then, But anyway, I think right now it isn't really as necessary, but it could be in the future. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have.
I have to agree with Commissioner Lawson. She's totally right. And even though, we have all the confidence in the world in the sheriff and everybody who works over there, we have to treat everybody equally. And so on the off chance that we might have an issue, it's good to have those practices, I believe, in place, because that means that we can really assure the public that we are doing our due diligence. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, just to be clear, I definitely think we need a sole source process, but most governments, every government I've worked in, it never went to the city council or the county or to the county commission or anything like that. It's internally, there's a process for approving sole sources, and you don't need to waste everybody's time by bringing it all the way to here, is my thoughts. Get it done a lot quicker, but as long as there's a process, that's all that matters.
It is a process. It's been a common practice for you guys to bring it here, but we can look at that.
Is there anyone else wishing to comment on this issue? Commissioner Johnson, you are recognized to close.
I don't think I made the motion yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. I'm so used to you making the motions. Certainly. There you go.
Move to approve 2025-276.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025-276. Any further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Carpenter, did you just buzz in?
I did not.
Okay, it appeared for a moment. Okay.
I close.
Very good. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. That brings us to 2025-279. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, 2025-279 is a transfer with our Parks Department to cover our water and sewer invoices. We have John Davis, our Director of Parks, to answer any additional questions regarding 2025-279.
Thank you.
Okay. John Davis, Parks Director. This is a request to transfer $45,000 from our building and equipment repair line to our water and sewer line. This is within the Parks maintenance budget. We've had a budget shortfall for this fund this year. Started off, we didn't budget as much as we did the prior years, anticipating that the water line project, which to replace the water line under the lake project, would help solve some of our leaking issues. That project hasn't started yet, and that's expected to start October 6th. This is a big line. This supplies Little Platte Park, the docks, shelter houses, the beach house, and maintenance shop on that side. It also goes under the lake, supplies both campgrounds, all the maintenance shops there, all the restrooms, the park office, Kelsey Short, Sailboat Cove, and the restaurant, I forgot, at Little Platte. So it is a very big line. So we've had about 26 leaks that we have repaired this year. One was a big one. It was a fire hydrant behind Little Platte shop. We didn't catch it till middle of September. It's probably been leaking since late June. And we've cut that off, and we've had several others, and we continue to battle them. So hopefully this will get us through the rest of the year. So, any questions?
Commissioner Johnson?
Move to approve 225-279.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025-279. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next on the agenda is 2025 Ordinance 23. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, 2025 Ordinance 23. It's approval of amendments for 2011 Land Development Code, Section 151-6.3G. We have our Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Jones, here to speak to you this evening.
Kip Jones, Planning Director. So I am going to talk to you about shipping containers tonight. I'm going to give you a little history, kind of why we're proposing the changes, and then what those changes are from the current code. So I'm going to go in a little more detail in just a second. So I want to give you a little background. So Clay County did not have any code in the Land Development Code until 2020 addressing shipping containers. At that point, they started becoming very popular. We were getting a bunch of phone calls on them. So at that point, we decided to include that in our Land Development Code. We kind of went conservative with that code, not wanting to open a huge problem, thinking that if we needed to revise it, we could come back and revise it. The second reason we're kind of here tonight is we had a Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting in May of this year where a variance was approved for shipping containers on a lot that is approximately 3 acres. And we have received input from citizens over the past couple years that they do not have an issue with shipping containers as long as the property owner maintains it and keeps it in good condition and screens it partially from their view. So that is the reason we proposed a revision to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed and took public comment at their July and September meetings. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the current code is and what the proposal is. So one of the biggest items is right now you have to have 10 plus acres to have a shipping container. The proposal from the Planning and Zoning Commission would reduce that to 3 plus acres. So from 3 to less than 5, you would be allowed 1 shipping container. 5, less than 10, 2, and then on up from there. So let's talk about the differences, and these are the major differences. Keep in mind that we submitted the current code and the changes in the transmittal that was submitted to the County Commission. So we talked about the acreage change. The current code has a greater setback, and really one of the purposes of this code is to open it up to allow more shipping containers, because that's what the public seems to want. That's what the discretion was at the Board of Zoning Adjustment. So we're reducing the setbacks from 250 feet from the side and rear property lines to 100 feet from the front property line and 50 feet from the side and rear. The current code says it cannot be visible from the road. The proposal would be that it cannot sit in front of the front build line of the home. There is no screening in the current code. However, it says it cannot be visible from the road. The Planning and Zoning Commission decided that they would like to see it screened by at least 75% from the road and any adjacent property. The current code does not discuss a height limit. The Planning and Zoning discussed in detail a height limit, which would include any raised slabs, raised footing, so it's from the level of the grade to the top of the shipping container. And the biggest shipping container I could find was 10 feet tall, so that's why they went with 10 feet. There are no paint requirements in the current code. However, it does state that they shall be kept in a good condition. The Planning and Zoning Commission changed that to the shipping container shall be painted, and that paint color shall be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Or, I'm sorry, by the Planning and Zoning Department. Currently, we have no future inspections, so a building permit or a farm building permit is required for every shipping container, but we don't inspect it after that initial permit is issued. We just make sure that it meets the stipulations in place, and then they're allowed to have it. The Planning and Zoning Commission wanted the Planning and Zoning Department to inspect every approved shipping container every 5 years, with the property owner being responsible for paying a permit or a inspection fee, which currently by the fee schedule, that's $90. So we would inspect every container that we approved every 5 years to make sure it met the requirements that were in place. So that is the quick version. I will tell you, most of the input from the citizens has been positive. Actually, all of it has been positive because they want to see it opened up. There are some folks in attendance tonight that have been part of the process, some citizens, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you giving this presentation. Hey, you said the paint was going to be decided by the Planning and Zoning Department. Is that is that going to be standardized, or is it case by case?
It's case by case. So when we originally wrote the revision, we wrote it that it should match the house or an accessory building. The Planning and Zoning Commission had discussions of, well, what if the house is white? It's going to stick out more. So they wanted to give the staff discretion for that.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree. I was going to say, you might make more people mad if it was, standard and somebody wanted a pink one. I've seen those Ocean Network Express ones that are bright pink or something. So.
And I wrote in no Notre Dame colors, so,
That sucks.
or USC.
Yeah. All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You just give me Mr. Popular tonight, that's all I can say. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I won't touch his last comments. I will note, though, the dancing container does up your game a little bit.
Did I deliver for you?
You're getting there. You're getting there. Question, well, not really a question, but just for the benefit of those who were not at the BZA meeting, Commissioner Carpenter, Commissioner Lawson, and I have the joy of participating in that. We had a whole lot of joy Tuesday, but that's for another time. I will mention that this particular case that came forward was one where, as I recall, the homeowners did a Halloween or Christmas business? Halloween, thank you. And stored much of their decorations in these containers, and those that lived around them were quite pleased and happy with what they've done. And I think the position that we took, and my colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the position that we took was this is just as much if you will, a farm structure as anything else you would find, and so why treat this any differently than you would any other sort of structure? And the point that was also made by the applicant at that time was that the value of these containers was that they are sealed all the way around, so you do not have an issue of things ruining their equipment or anything like that, as you may find in a more standard farm structure. So that was why I think we made the decision that we did, and I appreciate Mr. Jones carrying this forward and taking this in the manner that he has. So I'm certainly fine with what is here tonight, but just wanted to give some extra context to why we're seeing this today. And if I've missed anything, I invite my colleagues to jump on in. Thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Well, I'll do that. First of all, thanks to Director Jones. This seems like a good list of rules and regulations around this subject. So full disclosure, I voted against granting the variance, and I got outvoted by my colleagues 2-1. And the reason I voted against is not because I disagree with the policy. I strongly support the policy. And in fact, these were some of the most sympathetic, lovely people you could imagine. It wasn't even a Halloween business. It was, as best I recall, it was a Halloween basically show for the neighborhood that they put on for free at their own expense. They had put the shipping containers decently far back, painted them black, I believe, is what I recall, and that helped it blend in their particular situation. So, fully supported their right to do it. When it comes to property rights things in general, I think being more permissive than less is the correct choice. The reason I voted against it was because, in my view, if we're going to do it for one person who wants their own shipping container, then I think everybody ought to be allowed to have shipping containers on their property. And so this rectifies that for me today. And I think it's exactly the right call. In part, building stuff has gotten more and more expensive over time. The labor, the parts, the lumber, all of it, right? And so one of the ways people can save money is by having shipping containers as a cheaper storage option for themselves. So fully support what we have here. My only question and slight hesitation is on the 5-year inspection rule, in which folks are gonna have to contact their government and pay the $90 every 5 years. I guess my natural inclination would be to allow it to be where if there's a problem, planning and zoning has the ability to deal with problem properties, if it falls into disrepair in general. And of course, in general, we don't require the government to come out to our property and do an inspection every 5 years. So to me, it's still a great policy. It's perhaps a minor disagreement that I have on that piece, but I'm also open to being convinced that it is good and necessary. So if you or any of you want to convince me of that, I will be happy to listen. But even if that stays in there, I support the policy.
Commissioner Johnson.
And just for clarification, this is just for storage containers, right? We're not talking people that build those modular homes with them or anything like that, right?
No, this is for only anything that was originally designed as an intermodal shipping container.
And do we have any kind of rules that dictate what color people can paint their houses?
No, sir.
So that's one of my questions, is why would we dictate what color they can paint their storage shed, but we don't dictate what color they paint their houses?
I think the thinking there was that would help with the screening or blending in of the shipping container.
Yeah.
Because I know this is a really pretty shipping container on the screen, but most shipping containers we deal with are not as aesthetic as that. They're rusty, they have some issues. So I think that's what the Planning and Zoning Commission was thinking.
Yeah, I used to work the shipping container terminal in Long Beach, so I know how ugly those things can get and rusty and gross. But so can a lot of storage sheds, that people buy as well. And we don't have the same restrictions on that we would on these. And so we're treating these different than, some storage shed you buy from Home Depot or something else. And my concern is kind of piggybacking on Commissioner Carpenter, maybe going a little further with is, I'm not a big fan of I call it government overreach. I know you got to strike that balance of being a good neighbor. I'm one of those people that live in the country. I know, like Commissioner Lawson does too, and we kind of like to do our own things out there, and that's why we go out there. And so I worry about being too restrictive and saying, hey, we're going to dictate what color. The government's going to tell you what color you can paint your storage shed, or the government's going to have to come and inspect your storage shed in 5 years or whatever it is. And we don't do that with any other storage sheds. And these things are a heck of a lot thicker than most storage sheds you would find, and much more durable. So I'm all for relaxing it even more myself, actually. And I wish there was a way we can just have some kind of policy, hey, you do what you want, but if it's a problem and your neighbor calls, then we'll come out and we'll see if it's an eyesore and it needs to, recommend something be done with it. But I just don't like too much government overreach and too much telling people what they can and can't do on their own property, particularly when they have a bigger piece of property, acres wise. But just my thoughts on that.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I'll come back around to those two comments because I think there's something to be said about that. I think it was a reminder even in the hearing about how most structures can, in a sense, almost go into disrepair. There's really nothing as a consequence to that. And so it is kind of striking to say, part of the reason why this has come forward is we want to allow people to have the ability to use these as an alternative, yet we will stick these to a higher standard than other sorts of structures. And so, so I'll ask a question and then I'll make one last comment. The question is there anything in our code currently related to any outer structures that are in disrepair? Are those code violations?
So we have a dangerous building code that there's, I believe, 18 different stipulations that if a building meets one of those conditions, it would be classified as a dangerous building. And we would go through that process, which could be anything from posting it as a dangerous building to boarding it up to abating that condition because it is dangerous.
Gotcha. So the thought strikes me, because this case, as well as a couple of others that we dealt with on Tuesday, had to do with the fact that individuals were ignorant of what was required of them. And I have a feeling that should we pass this as written, we will invite, should we get a codes issue that comes, it's going to be very clear that they're probably not in our system, and we're going to go after them for that. And I just wonder, to the comments that were previously made, if it makes more sense, almost for our own sake, as far as your workload in terms of inspections and other things, to just say, okay, you're allowed them, but if there is if it is in disrepair in some fashion for whatever, I mean, maybe it's rusted out, maybe it's got holes in it, whatever the case may be, that prompts the call, that prompts the action, and then you go forward in dealing with that issue, but it saves you from having to come 5 years later, or it saves someone from having to pay the county for something that everyone's going to be ignorant of, even if we pass it today. So just a thought, and I don't know if you have any thoughts related to that.
I do.
I knew you would. Go for it, Mr. Jones.
So I have reservations about that as well. Staff did not present that to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission added that. I have concerns about us billing people, even being able to get that inspection fee. My preference would be that we do something similar to what you have described, that if it becomes an issue, it doesn't meet these standards, we go through our code enforcement process. And you could, obviously you have the discretion to do that. You could just, if you vote to approve, you could just make a motion to delete that section and approve the rest as is.
Well, I might suggest, should others agree with that, that if you would call out for us what that section is, and then whomever makes that motion can know what to call out. I'll just throw out there, I would certainly agree with that. I think that'll be easier for everyone, all considered. And I'll end it right there. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Lawson.
You know, one of the things I was so gratified as you went through this was that there were some standards up front, because we've all been, I'm out there driving around in the country for no good reason, but one of the things that I do see, you'll have a really nice farmhouse, big barn out to the side, and then in the past, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 of these big palookas sitting out there. Looks like heck. And they're not painted, and they're all cattywampus, and the neighbor on the other side probably is upset about the whole thing. And we've had a lot of those come in that are saying, he's got those sitting out there and they look bad, and you know, all of the complaints that we have heard. So I think you're smart to make these regulations up front. The couple that came the other night broke my heart, because they had a little neat thing going and they never called to get a license or anything. And what are you going to do, you know? So I felt so bad for them. Well, if we lay it out to begin with and they break that rule initially, they didn't know, and so they've got some out there, you've got something to say, you've got to have it hidden, or it's got to stay painted properly, you know, just all those many things. You don't have to say it's got to match your house, or, you know. The lady that we talked about with the Halloween stuff, it was black, and there were 2. You couldn't even see the second one. I drove out there and looked, and you couldn't even see the second one at all. You could see the first one, it was painted black, and it looked great. It just neat as a pin. So I think that we have to be mindful of that. As far as the 5-year thing, the only good thing about that is they know in 5 years you might come back and check it, so they're going to keep it neat. So you have to think about that a little bit too. But on the other side of the coin, that puts the monkey on your back and your staff, that they have to keep running out and checking all these many. I think that doesn't necessarily need to be. The threat is good, but the staff time running, you know, the neighbors will let us know if things start going to heck. They'll call and say, thing looks like Dickens, so get somebody out here. But as far as all of the regulations in advance, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you hold their feet to the fire to continue to keep it up that way.
Commissioner Johnson.
So, kind of piggybacking off Commissioner Wagner, I'm not sure how to proceed with this, and I'm not sure the process actually, because of the way this came to us. If we can just push this back for more work, send it back and say, hey, based on some of the comments made, can we have something else brought forward in the future that kind of incorporates a little bit more of what we've talked about. I don't know how that process works for this. Do you?
Commissioner, could I inquire of you? Are you saying to push it back for consideration for this body, or do you mean send it back to the Planning and Zoning Board? Which I was a little, I want to make sure you were.
I don't know.
Understood.
Ultimately, so that something comes to us that's more in line with some of the things that we were talking about. I personally think it's too restrictive in some ways. But I don't know if that's just something we tell Kip fix it and bring it back to us, or if we try and fix it while we're sitting here, which I think might be too tough, or if we send it back to the board. I don't know what the best way is to handle that. But personally, I would like to see it. I'd like to see it massaged a little bit and maybe some changes. And it might be too much for us to go through here, but maybe not.
Well, I was just going to offer, if I may, I assume those two pieces, if I understood the last answer, appears in a section of this ordinance. My thought would be, and not to be Machiavellian with planning and zoning, but just simply to say they've given us their recommendation. It's our choice whether to accept it or not, or change it. My thought would simply be identify what the section is, and whether you wish to do it first as an amendment and then an approval, or throw that all in one motion. I'll look to the county councilor to ask what would be preferable. But it would seem to me that if we're pretty clear on what we like, I just assume go ahead and move forward if it's just a matter of removal of a section. And that's what I would offer.
So just if I may add, if we're just talking about, we're talking about section H2G, and we're talking about the second section of that, starting at the word "at" and ending in the word "commission," which says, "At the resident's expense, intermodal shipping containers shall be inspected by the Clay County Planning and Zoning every 5 years. Inspection fees shall not be excessive and will be per the fee schedule approved by the Clay County Commission." If we're just talking about removing that, then I think you could remove that and move forward.
Could I make a recommendation to the commission, and that would be this. We have a number of people, I think, who are interested in testifying from the public. Am I correct in that assumption? So if you, raise your hand if you want to, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
Let's hear what the citizens have to say and then take that up. So I think we need to consider that as an option, but after we've heard from the citizens. Anyone else wish to weigh in on this before we bring up members of the public to comment? Very well. Members of the public, if you would just kind of queue up there. As you come forward, make sure the green light is on, state your name, and then go ahead and address the commission with your opinion or whatever you'd like to say. So please proceed.
Okay, Nicole Paff. You want where I live?
Excuse me?
Did you say where I live?
It
doesn't matter.
I don't think we need, I always feel a little twitchy about people giving their addresses out in this setting, but just.
Okay, I live in unincorporated Clay County.
You're in
so-
unincorporated Clay County,
Yeah.
that's close enough.
And I believe I've been to a few meetings, more meetings I care in my whole life. I've been to a lot of these kind of meetings. We had talked about that we had purchased a property. We've been there 3 years. We had a three-car garage, detached three-car garage. The electric company came out and said that the previous owners had built a building in a power easement, and it wasn't disclosed. We were being charged with trespassing by the power company. We had hardly no time. We had to tear down the building, and I want you to understand, like, you don't have a spot for your shovel, your rake, your lawnmower. Our house doesn't have a garage, so everything was in that building. We didn't know we were breaking the rules. We thought this would be a quick solution. We purchased a storage container, had it brought out the next day, unloaded the thing, tore the building down, got the power company off of our case, which wasn't fun at all. And then, Kip has been great working with us, helping us with the building permit. We've moved the building, we put it in a legal area where it should be. We're convinced that it's where it should be. It looks amazing. It cost us a lot of money. Then we find out, oh, you're in violation, you have this shipping container. And ours is nice. It doesn't say weird words on it. It's a beige container. It's so boring, it's just beige. So we wanted to try to get a variance to keep the container. But then we've heard that the other committee gave the Halloween decoration people a variance with 2 containers on less than 3 acres. So we were like, well, I guess that would be the route that we should take. And we really want to put it to bed. Like, I've been in this suspension of all of this for over 2 years with the building and now the container. And I'm just looking for relief. I want to follow the rules. And I think the paint suggestion and the screening suggestion, my take on that at the meeting was to appease the committee that it would look nice. It wouldn't look trashy. We were all willing to do pretty much anything. I mean, the other people that spoke that have these containers, that we're not trying to break the rules. Just so it would look nice. Now, we do have, we could get on the argument that we have all these falling down structures and things that aren't painted and houses that don't look good and 22 cars in a neighbor's yard and all of that stuff. I mean, we live in the country, we just kind of want to do our own thing. If you want 22 cars in your yard, be my guest. I don't care. I just want to just have my own thing. So my ask is, if the people that are here that have been in this for a long time, we would really just like some relief. I'd like to put it where it's supposed to be so Kip can say, hey, it's good. I want it to be over with. This has been going on for 2 years. I'm tired. So that's
Any
my
questions?
story. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Commissioner Johnson,
Question.
please, go
Did
ahead.
Did someone complain? Did someone complain about your container?
I don't know. I think someone just drove, I don't know if, well, there's all this new construction because I live by a new development that's being developed off Mount Olivet. And I don't know if inspectors for this, I don't know because that's Smithville and I'm not in Smithville. I don't know how it came about. It's pretty hidden. It's in the front of my house, but it's hidden. It was the flattest spot in the least amount of time.
But none of your neighbors ever say anything to you about it, that they didn't
No,
like it
they
or
don't.
bothered
No,
by it?
they don't care. I mean, no. And I've asked them where we're going to, if we're allowed, where we would like to move it, the proposed location. We've asked the neighbors, and no one's complained. No, and you wouldn't even see it from the road where we plan on doing it. We want to put it behind the new building that we built, and no one would see it except my neighbors. And I've asked them, and they're totally fine with it. And I like the paint idea, not paint, because at first they wanted us to paint it, the other proposal, and I thought, well, that'd be kind of a nightmare. I don't think it would stick. I mean, I agree, like the ones have all the letters and it looks crazy. But I think when people buy brand new ones, I mean, the mice don't get in it, the water doesn't get in it. It's really a great, inexpensive alternative, so.
The only thing that gets in it is the government.
Amen. Yeah, I'm pretty, that's what, I mean, it's just been a lot, so we feel pretty powerless. But I appreciate you guys entertaining the idea and giving us an opportunity to speak about it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, Commissioner Withington, hold on, let me get your mic on. There you go.
So you're fine with this proposal?
I mean, would I want to be inspected every 5 years?
Other than that?
Yes, I think it's something we can live with. I think the screening is appropriate. I mean, I don't want my neighbors to, what I have going on, I want to ruin their quality of life.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like the 5-year screening either.
Yeah, but I think everything's good, and I mean, I think planning and zoning worked really hard to try to come up with a plan that was good. And I agree, it's our property. I wish we could just do what we want in our little bitty piece of property. I mean, that's why we left Kansas City, Missouri, and an HOA and all the things. And I've never been to any meetings like I've now, and I did live in an HOA in Kansas City, Missouri. So I moved out here for just some peace and quiet.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Next citizen going to come forward?
Hello, folks. Larry Yateman, and I live in Clay County off 144th Street, unincorporated Clay County, but I don't own any shipping containers, but I've always would like the right to reserve the right to own one, right? So I'm actually in favor for it. Kind of with Commissioner Johnson, that I don't know that we should be holding these to higher standards than other buildings simply because, hey, there's a lot of really ratty houses around there that are dragging down property values, probably more than shipping containers, right? But if I had a little storage, for you folks that like to buy square bales, I would actually have some because I have a lack of storage right now. But so I would just be in favor of eliminating the paint requirements because, you know, I don't know, do we want government deciding if they like the color or we even paint a house or a container? And maybe the inspection thing, I think that'd be pretty onerous on the P&Z department. I mean, it'd just be going all the time. I can't imagine what budget it'd take to be running around inspecting. And hey, maybe that leads to something worse. So now we're going to inspect your house every 5 years too and charge you a permit fee, right? And it could go on. So there's probably enough teeth in our zoning and planning laws already to kind of regulate ratty looking structures. And I'm not opposed to them being regulated. If somebody's complaining about them, it's an eyesore. I think anybody can pick up the phone and complain, and then you could take course with probably existing laws on the book. So that's it. I'd be in favor for it, but maybe nix the paint and the inspection requirement. Okay. That it?
No, there's one question. Commissioner Johnson.
Actually, I was just going to ask you, I think you clarified. So you're okay with it except for the paint and the inspection every 5 years? The rest of it you're good with? Or is there anything else you think that's...
No, I think everything else is fair, and it doesn't hurt to have them hidden and out of plain sight. And, you know, even I don't want to make my property look ratty, and I'm conscious of what I do to my neighbors. I try to keep my place neat, clean, and organized, and I don't want to be dragging down their values and kind of hoping they don't do that back to me, right? But let's face it, neighbors will do that to you in other ways other than containers. So. But I'm okay with it.
Those square bales you have any alfalfa?
We baled 1,400 square bales of alfalfa lately. Actually, I do have some of that.
I'll talk to you later.
You let me know. It's on Stark Road. It's not too far from you.
Hold on a moment. Commissioner Carpenter.
Yeah, well, hey, thank you, Commissioner. Larry, I just want to say it's good to see you again. And I just want to actually just extend my gratitude for the way when you come here and share your opinions, you're always just as friendly as can be. And I think there's a lesson in there for all of us that we can share our opinions to the world in the democratic process and do it in a kind and friendly way. So thank you for being a good example.
Not a problem. Appreciate you guys, all right? Take care.
Thank you. Next citizen, please.
Chad Spicer, live out in the county, recently moved there about 5 months ago now. I got the violation and started working with KIP on this. I was unaware that you couldn't have a container or that there was any regulations for it. You know, I kind of thought the same thing. I live out in the country. I can do mostly what I want. And I'd like to continue that. Obviously, there's got to be some regulations to keep people from doing crazy stuff or, you know, whatever. I mean, but I just like to say I support this and been, you know, talking to Kip a lot and trying to hash all this out or help give my suggestions to hashing all this out. And there was a lot of appeasement stuff going on, and I don't like the permit and the fee. You know, I think it's kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, government overreach maybe. But I'm also, if that's the way it has to be, I'll live with it, you know? And the painting thing, I could go either way, you know? I thought when we had discussions with people about it, we thought, well, maybe if it was painted, you know, the same color or nearly the same color as a adjacent building or something, that might help appease more people and get this ball, you know, rolling. I hope we can hash something out tonight, or you guys can, rather, you know, by making a motion and settle this, because I'm a little frustrated like the other lady. It's been going on for a while, and so, thank you.
Hold on, I think there's a question. Commissioner Johnson?
Two questions. First, how much did you have to pay for your permit?
For my
Did you have to
permit for my container?
Yeah.
$90.
$90.
Yeah, right? 90, yeah.
And then what, with this proposal, if we were to take out the 5-year inspection and the paint requirement, the way it's in here now, is there anything else in here? Are you be happy with it like that, or is there anything else you'd like to see changed?
I mean, ideally, I'd like for, all of it to go away,
Yeah.
but I understand that can't happen.
No,
You know.
You and me both, brother.
So, no, I mean, my original suggestions to Kip were like a 50% visual, and it came out as 75, I mean, it's a compromise, and, I'm willing to make it, to be able to have this. Another thing on the 5-year thing, for the inspections, these containers are gonna last 30, 40 years probably. I mean, they're not gonna fall apart in 5 years. So that was another thing that I had a little bit of an issue with was, 5 years is too soon. Nothing's gonna happen.
But these containers, you're getting these containers used, right? They're already old when you get them. You're not getting new ones.
Well, you can get all varying degrees of containers, and of course, a lot of times you don't have a choice on the color and stuff like that, and some of them are pink. I wouldn't want a pink one,
Yeah.
But I have one of the nice beige ones that's a one-trip container, and it looks almost brand new.
Oh, really?
So, and I plan on painting it the color of my outbuilding that I'm building right now. But to be required to do it, you know what I mean? I can live with it, but I don't love it, I guess is what I'm trying to
Thank you.
say.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there another citizen wishing to comment?
Jennifer Justice. I actually live on about 20 acres and have a lot of neighbors that have shipping containers, and I am actually shocked to know there was a permitting process for said containers. My suggestion would be that 3 acres is probably too much, because looking around our area, Larry Yateman lives near me, I think there's probably a lot of people with 1.5 or 2 acres that actually already have these shipping containers sitting on their property, and they're probably just not knowing that there is a process for this. So I think 3 acres is probably too small for this. I understand it was a suggestion, but I'm thinking that there's a lot of people with acreage that already have them. That's probably about 1. 1 seems like maybe with the setbacks that could work, but I just wanted you all to take that into consideration.
No questions? I thought it looked like you were pushing your button. There you go.
More of a comment. Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. The thing is, one size does not fit all. And 1 acre somewhere could look a lot different than 1 acre somewhere else. And that's our problem. That's what I hate about making rules for stuff. It's like, it doesn't work for everybody. It's not always fair. And
I suppose it could be behind on the 1 acre,
Right.
behind the house. And so I think that may have been in there behind the house. And I know there used to be regulations with not having things in front of the property, which would alleviate the concerns of, okay, this is in front of the road, or in front of the home and visible from the road. But I think there are a lot of people already in the county that have these on smaller parcels of property. I think if we started to dig into it, that is what we would find. And I also think the permitting process, and that's already been mentioned, so I won't rehash all of that, but all of those were very valid comments about government overreach, $90 fees, just things that seem unnecessary for those that did move to the country so that the government would not be in their business.
Right. So I tend to agree with that acreage comment, and I'd like to hear some discussion on that, maybe from Kip or some others, if that's something we want to amend or not. What I think we're going to do is I'm going to eventually, when we're done with speaking, I'm going to move to approve this, and then I think Commissioner Wagner is going to tweak some of the things that we've talked about already, probably the 5-year thing as well as the paint thing, and then we can discuss maybe what we want to do with the acreage.
Actually, I think if it's okay, I think I would like council to go ahead and give us the proper procedure, so then we proceed without any technical glitches. But I see where you're going, and we'll work through that. Kip, go ahead, go right. Okay, Mr. Carlson. Okay, good. Kip?
The original proposal by staff did not have a minimum acreage presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission had concerns about interior streeted subdivisions and allowing those in that type of development. Staff's original thought process was that their covenants and restrictions would take care of those issues. So I hear that comment. I appreciate that comment. As far as the permit process goes, to me, we're going to have to require something so my department can make sure that they're meeting these stipulations. Whether the commission chooses to charge for that or not, we can set that in the fee schedule. Typically we charge for an inspection, whether it's a new house or an accessory building. And I think the $90 is pretty reasonable for a one-time inspection because my staff has to spend time reviewing their application, and then we're going to go on site and make sure they have it screened and it's located correctly. So that would be my thoughts on that.
By the way, I just skipped over, for those of you who are watching the screens, I skipped over to Commissioner Johnson because my perception was that you wanted to follow up with Kip. So there are a number of people on my screen. I'd like to go ahead and work through the folks who would like to follow up with Kip on this, and then we'll go back into the order in which we were at. This way, as long as Kip's there and we're on the subject, we can have more of a fruitful discussion. So would you push your button again? I'll put you back on.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, I asked him, and he said he's okay with you doing the follow-up.
If you have.
If you have follow-up with Kip?
No.
Okay.
I'm happy when you said.
Does anyone else have follow-up?
I will follow up real quick.
Okay, hold on a moment, please.
Sorry about that. So I like what staff had to say, and I agree with what they're saying about the acreage. Why put a limit on it at all? There's some covenants and regulations that would cover a lot of that. I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of what staff recommended as far as not putting any restrictions on the acreage. And as for the fee, I mean, my personal opinion is I wish we didn't even have to ask if we could put one of these on our property and we wouldn't have to have a permit, but certainly if it's going to require staff to come out and there's an inspection and there's time involved, obviously that's got to be paid for. And
I will say we have had complaints on containers.
Sure.
So we do receive those
Yeah.
as well. So I
And
just want to
certainly-
make sure that's out there.
And I think that's where we need to be is, you get a neighbor that's complaining. I would hope first that the neighbor would talk to their neighbor. There's some discussion going on and they have some kind of relationship where they say, you know what, hey, you got an ugly looking storage shed here. What can we do about this? And they work that out. And if they can't, then okay, well, I got to call down to Kip and let him send his boys out and figure this out and play referee here. And I get that's going to happen. So I was in law enforcement. That happens all the time. I understand that.
And I appreciate that comment because my code inspector and I had that same discussion today because we had a neighbor that actually went across, talked to the other neighbor. They didn't get the answer they wanted, then they came to us. So we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
A moment, let me get back over here. Oh, come on, Jerry. Fat fingers is just not working for me today. There we go.
Hey, so you said the fee was $90. What's that, how's that compared to if somebody wanted to put a shed out there?
So it depends what kind of shed. If we're talking a prefab shed that they just come and drop off, it would be exactly the same.
Okay, so it's the exact same.
Yes, it's that is our fee for a one-time inspection. And part of the reason we look at that type of shed and this type of container is we want them to anchor it into the ground so there's not issues. We've seen tornadoes with Smithville Lake and that sort of thing. There are safety issues as well.
So, but you don't go check on those every 5 years?
Oh, no.
So I don't like the 5-year inspection. So if we don't inspect the sheds every 5 years, I mean, this thing could probably blow away too if we had a big enough tornado. Why are we so insistent on having to check this every 5 years?
That's what the Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending to the County Commission.
Scott, are you going to talk about getting rid of that 5-year? Yeah, okay, all right.
Commissioner Carpenter. I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
I just want to reiterate, for us, for staff-wise, our staff goes and does a recommend body with the Planning Commission. So they provide to them what they desire, what they say, and it comes back to you all. So we at that, then KIP present to you all. So the recommended body is what we're presenting tonight. So it's not in that session.
And I appreciate that. I just don't like the 5-year inspection if we're not doing that for sheds and stuff, which basically do the exact same thing as this, storage, right?
I need 5 more people if you're going to do that.
That's why you want the 5-year inspection to pay for staff, administrative overhead, right?
All right, have you concluded, Commissioner? Commissioner Carpenter?
Thanks, yeah. Remind me on the case we heard in May. It was fewer than 3 acres and it was 2 containers. Is that right?
It was either right at 3 or just slightly below 3. They had 2 containers that were painted to match the house, and they were hidden behind an accessory structure.
Right.
And I do want to admit that that was a non-for-profit that they actually donated the proceeds from the Halloween tour.
Wonderful. So in this proposal, under 3 gets 0 shipping containers, 3 to 5 gets 1, right?
Correct.
So, when I talked about it earlier, as I mentioned, I voted against granting the variance. Again, most sympathetic possible case. All their neighbors loved them. Everybody loved them. Nobody had a problem with it. For me, the reason to vote against it was because I want to be fair to all property owners in the county and not have different sets of rules for different people. So certainly I would feel perfectly comfortable getting rid of the acreage requirement. It would help bring that into fruition in terms of, the variance we granted there would make it equal between them and everybody else, which I think is the right thing to do. That being said, you're going to have to be cautious with me because however permissive you want to go on people's private property with the codes, I'll get pretty permissive. So in this case, absolutely happy to remove any and all restrictions that the Commission decides that it wants to remove.
Excuse me. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. As I've been trying to track the conversation, on the fees, just to go back to that for a moment, it mentions in the ordinance text where it mentions the fee for the shipping containers. It also mentions that farm use only buildings require a farm building permit. So that's where we say, this is the good for the goose is good for the gander kind of thing, just to say that everybody who has a structure pays some sort of permit for you to come out and make sure that it's in good shape.
So that's a great point. I appreciate you bringing that up. So we have 2 types of accessory buildings, a farm use only building and an accessory building. A farm use only building is used only to store things that are used to take care of the land. There is no permit fee for a farm use only building. So if a property owner comes to us and says, hey, we want to store our tractor, our hay, our grain, our mower, our whatever, that's farm use, we do what's called a farm building checklist, which they have to come into the office. They have to show us where they're putting it, how far it is from the property lines. If they're using a shipping container for a farm use building, we're going to verify that it meets these standards. However, the way this is written now, if you do a farm use only shipping container on over 40 acres, you don't even have to meet these standards. So there is a stipulation there. So farm use is different than just regular accessory building. So there is a process for them to go through and pay no permit fee if they're using it as a farm use only structure.
But if it's any other type of accessory building, whether it's done with a shipping container or anything else, there is a fee structure involved?
Correct. There's a permit process and a fee structure.
Okay, so depending on how you use the shipping container, you will fall into one of those spots, which may mean you're not having to pay a fee if you're using farm-related things. And if it's just used for storage, you will, just like you would any other structure.
Just any other accessory building, you fall into one of those 2 categories.
Got it. All right. Then, okay. So I'm not gonna muddle with that one. Then on the acreage, just so that I'm clear, your original recommendation that went before planning and zoning was 0 to 3, 0 to 5. Kind of walk me through again what that is.
But I believe it was 0 to 5 was 1 container.
Okay. And is there, based on the comment that Commissioner Carpenter made, and he is correct, when that variance came forward, it was for 2. So if I were to go down his rabbit hole just for a moment, I would say that the person who came to us the first time, if they hadn't done that before, they would come to us again because they would have 2 under 5 acres. And so, as has been said, you can't account for every situation, but I do wonder if it makes any sense to adjust the number allowed. So instead of going 0 to less than 5 with 1, you might be able to do 2 at 0 to less than 5 and then kind of move your scale accordingly. Does that make any sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense, and we're happy to enforce whatever the commission decides. However, staff thought that was a very unique property, that the topography and the way the buildings were sat in a way that, as Commissioner Lawson said, they were hard to see. I don't think every property is going to be like that. That's why we proposed it the other way.
Well, I understand that. I guess what I would say is if the other stipulations are here in terms of the 75% screening, not above 10 feet, I mean, they all have to work together. So it would seem that if I can't meet the 75% threshold with 2, but I can with 1, then it looks like I'm getting 1 unless I come before BZA, right? So, or you could just tell them, plant some trees to screen it, and I work for a place that has access to trees. I can help them out. Well, that self-serving aside, I would say that if, I'll just throw it out to the group, it would seem to me that if we can adjust that number where we're starting at 2 instead of 1, then that might take care of the variance issues that came up before. And in which case, then the end of that scale might suggest that at 20 plus acres, you can have 6, and that's kind of the end of your scale as opposed to 40. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm tracking.
I hate to.
Are you tracking?
I'm tracking. I do want to bring to your attention, though, your original one had less than 10 acres. So you're changing something that was existing. Before you were more restrictive. So those that you were having containers, you couldn't have a container unless you had over 10 acres. Now you've moved it to where the commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission, probably was looking at between what you have, which was more restrictive, and what they were asking for to kind of figure out what can we do to 3 to 5 acres to try to accommodate some situations. And probably took into consideration, I believe I wasn't here at the time, of what you provided. Am I right, Kip?
Yeah, and I would, that's kind of what I mentioned earlier. We went from having 0 code to kind of a restrictive code, not making sure we didn't open up Pandora's box. And so I would hope we would do the same thing here. Now, we can change it either way, but we can always come back to you and say, hey, we're still hearing this is too restrictive, and make it less restrictive. Mm-hmm. So it can always be changed. And actually, just to remind the commission, we are doing a complete revision of the land development code that I hope to get sections of it in front of you next year, that this section will be reviewed again.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I appreciate those comments, and I'll just say, I'll leave it open for those who want to make further comment. I am agnostic either way. I'm fine with 0 to 5 and that being your 1 in starting your scale. Or again, if we think that there's just a proliferation of these and we're inviting just lots of variance. I mean, I love my friends at BZA, and we have a great time on Tuesday nights. And so, and maybe we'll get a bunch of those cases, or maybe not. But we clearly had 1, and so I would like to get a sense of, is it 1 container at 0 to less than 5 acres, or is it 2? And then we can adjust that scale accordingly. I'm okay either way with whatever the commission wants to do, and I'll turn it back.
Excuse me, Commissioner Johnson.
Well, I smell what you're cooking, and I like it. I like the less restrictive. I like the 2 at 0 to 5 myself. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to Did we let everybody talk in the top areas? Excuse me, did we let the public talk? I'm going to ask you, are you ready for the motion? Yeah. You go ahead and shoot that, and then I'll read it.
We seem to be arriving at a conclusion here, so what I'd like to do is to go ahead and open it back up again for any members of the public who would like to comment on the discussion that has just ensued. Then after that, we'll go ahead and I'm going to recognize Commissioner Johnson, and we'll start working through whatever it is that we need to do. So are any citizens here who would like to weigh in light of what's been discussed up here? Please come forward.
It's more of a question, and maybe Kip could answer this, or you. The setback requirement would take care of it. If it was 0 to 5, or 0 to 1, or 0 to whatever the number is, there's still going to be the setback requirement. So if you have a lot that you can't meet the requirement, you're not going to have the container, which I think would simplify everything, because there's already a rule on where things can go on the property. And if not, then you could ask for a variance at the other committee.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I believe you have that correct, yes. Okay. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what you said. So with that in mind, I move to approve 2025 Ordinance 23, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Wagner to make some amendments to that motion.
Mr. Counselor, is that in order? Yep. Very good. Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you. But before I make that amendment, I just want to double check on the number per acre, because I do yes, the setback takes care of a lot of this too, but I just want to make sure if that is satisfactory, then for 1 or 2 on the 0 to less than 5 acre scale. 2, okay. All right.
By the way, as you're going through this, if you could cite page numbers
Yes.
so that we can follow along with
Yes,
you.
absolutely, absolutely. So in that case, I will make a motion to amend Ordinance 2025, Ordinance 23 in the following manner. Section H2D, which you will find on page 6 of 8, would remove the phrase, paint color shall be approved by P&Z, and remove in section G the sentence, at the resident's expense, intermodal shipping containers shall be inspected by Clay County Planning and Zoning every 5 years. Inspection fees shall not be excessive and will be per the fee schedule approved by the Clay County Commission, and adjust the corresponding table with acreage and number of allowed intermodal shipping containers such that it reads 0 to less than 5 with the number allowed as 2, and remove and changing the line on acreage from 20 to less than 40 to 20 plus, with the corresponding shipping container numbers at 0 to less than 5, 2, 5 to less than 10, 3, 10 to less than 20, 4, and 20 plus, 6. That's it.
So I just want to make sure I'm doing this procedurally. He has proposed an amendment. Now we need to go ahead and discuss the amendment, take our vote on the amendment, and then go back to the underlying motion.
Correct.
All right. Just want to make sure I don't get us tangled up anywhere we don't need to be. With that, discussion on the amendment proposed by Commissioner Wagner. Any discussion? With that, Commissioner, you are recognized to close. Excuse me. There you go.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wagner.
Aye.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
Commissioner Withington.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. That brings us back to the original motion for 2025 Ordinance 23, Ordinance 23 as amended. With that, Commissioner, you are recognized.
I close.
Was there any further discussion? I take it none. Motion, okay. The maker of the motion closes. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Very good. That concludes our work on 2025 Ordinance 23 as amended. That brings us to our next issue. We have two more left on our regular agenda. By the way, thank you to the citizens for being here and sharing your views. That brings us to first 2025 Ordinance 21. Mr. Auditor.
Yes, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. Sadly, I do not have a very exciting presentation for you. But nevertheless, so what is before you here for both ordinances, 2025 Ordinance 21 and 22, is summarized essentially in this slide right before you. So it's abbreviated the discussion we had last week on the 18th into one summary slide. 2025 Ordinance 1 is the top 4 levies, basically the county government only levies. And so as a reminder from that discussion, we are essentially having a required rollback of our levies on the road and bridge levy from 0.0658 per $100.
Could you hold just for a moment? Commissioner
Yes.
Withington, I noticed are you wanting to ask now? Okay, wait to the end. Okay, great. Please, I want to make sure if you had a question at a particular point you were at, we took care of it, but please continue.
Sure, no problem. And so it represents a 6% decrease in the levy to 0.0617. It yields a roughly 4.8% increase in revenues, which is higher than the State Tax Commission allowable 2.9% CPI because of new construction. And so that's 2025 Ordinance 21. I figured we would handle that one first. Also, you have the general levy, which includes the sales tax rollback and the voluntary reduction per the direction from the commission of 0.0063 cents per $100 assessed valuation. So for the general levy, we actually have a voluntary rollback greater than the 6% requirement of a 10% reduction from our current 2-cent levy to 0.0179. And I just want to point out that, this is also actually a 26% reduction from the allowable ceiling of 0.0242. So I figured we would stop there to handle those first 4 top levies because that relates to 2025 Ordinance 21. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so you are dealing, of course, just with Ordinance 21. 22 would be next after we deal with this, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know, Mr. Counselor, if we want to vote separately or combine them. Sure.
Okay, did you need to discuss something before we go forward?
I do, yeah, one more question.
Okay, go ahead and straighten that out, then we'll go from there. Was there anything that you wish to add after the short shot there?
I don't, no.
Okay, that'd be great. I got to say, I'm certainly anxious. This is one of those times I wish as presiding commissioner I had a vote in this, but I'm going to go ahead and open it up to discussion. I would make a motion, but I think that it's probably as well just to have another commissioner make it, but certainly I am certainly enthusiastically supportive of this motion. With that, Commissioner Withington.
Yeah, so I want to make a motion to approve 2025 Ordinance 21. Every year that I've been on the commission, I've been pushing to get this down, and can't wait till the day we get that general revenue property tax down to 1 penny. So, all right. So again, make the motion to approve 2025 Ordinance 21.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Mr. Auditor, I don't know if you can answer this question, but you usually can, so I'm going to give it a shot, which is based on what we have here, what is the average relief that a homeowner will receive should we pass this?
Yeah, that's certainly a good question. I think the minister and I looked at that in our last presentation. I believe the neutral revenue amounted to, on average, a couple dollars per household. On an average $300,000 home was kind of the figure we looked at. So the assessed valuation of the market value is 19% for residential, and then you take that value times the given levy per $100 assessed valuation. So that was about the average.
So it's about a couple bucks. So people can have a Pepsi if we do this. So I'm going to vote against the motion, mainly for the reasons I gave last week when we talked about it the first time. It's not a lot of relief. We can say we did it, but we don't really provide a lot. And it strikes me that when everything else keeps going up in price, we seem to be okay with everybody else moving along with that, except for us. And as I recall, we're going to pay for the increases in healthcare for our folks next year, if I remember what we talked about before. I don't know where the rubber meets the road, but I voted with this last year, not this time. Thank you for the answer to my question. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Further discussion? During our discussion, I thought we had a remarkably robust and a very good discussion last week over this issue. One of the things that Commissioner Wagner brought up, and I realize it's at the heart of some of his concerns, is the ability to pay for it. And it was also brought up that if we are going to provide tax relief, we should also be prepared to be honest with the public and say, if we are taking in less money, that is going to affect services, and that's just the long and the short of it. There is nothing free. So the reason I'm supporting it is I believe this is a bulwark against an expanding government. I believe that what this does is it keeps us from spending this money in other areas, whatever it may be. One of the things that has been brought up is a possible expansion by one department of this government. That is something that I have a lot of concern with. If there's something that is close to immortality, it is a government program or a government department. And I have great apprehension about doing that, perhaps by taking these measures, while the relief may be, where the commissioner said it would be. I think one of the payoffs is it starts to restrict us from going down roads that we do not need to as a government, that we don't become intrusive into other people's lives. So from that point of view, I think it is certainly good to provide relief for our citizens no matter what it may be. And you and I, Mr. Auditor, have worked on a number of them, whether it was the surtax, whether it was the senior tax relief, which of course other commissioners worked on, and a lot of the other issues. I think it's all part of a similar thrust. And while I appreciate your work on tax relief, it's an issue that doesn't belong to any single commissioner, but it belongs to us as a group. And I think that's the way we need to look at it, is how do we, as commissioners, serve our constituents? And I think one way we do that is to not expand government beyond where it is currently at and focus on law enforcement, on roads and bridges, and on parks, similar to what we talked about last time. We just heard from the sheriff's office that about this great device that they have that's going to really increase public safety. That is where our emphasis should be, and that is where I think we need to focus. So I think this measure helps to enforce a degree of discipline on us as we go through the budget process in very short order. With that, Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, just to follow up on what Commissioner Wagner said, and he's spot on. This isn't going to make a difference in anybody's pocket by a whole lot. It's just a couple of dollars max, maybe. But so no one's going to notice a whole lot. But for me, it's more of a philosophical thing, and I don't like. I think first we got to look at our taxpayers, and we obviously look at our budgets and what we're bringing in, what we're spending, that kind of stuff. When you look at our taxpayer, and even though it's a couple dollars, you also got to look at just taxes in general. We could just tax to death on everything. Just this last year, I know City of Liberty increased their sales tax by 1%. So if you're spending $20,000 in Liberty over the year, which I spend more than that in the City of Liberty, that's a $200 increase. It's a $200 increase that I'm going to spend. And so if I go by that same Pepsi that Commissioner Wagner just held up, I'm going to spend now 1% more to buy that. But once I buy that, it's mine. I own it. And I'm done paying taxes on it. I pay it one time. With my house, it's not the same. Every year I pay it. My house is paid off, but every single year I got to pay taxes on it. Every single year. And my property taxes, personal property taxes, every single year. That's where I have the problem. I think there's an ethical problem with that, to the point where government is taking people's houses away because they don't pay their taxes year after year after year on a house that they outright own, but maybe can't afford. Maybe it's a house they inherited, but they can't afford to pay the tax on it. We're going to take it from them. So that's the philosophical issue I have with property taxes, and I would like to drive property taxes all the way down to zero. That's really what I'd like to do. I'd like to get rid of property taxes altogether, but the fact is what we do, what we control on property taxes is just a small part of that property tax that you pay to the county. It's, school district's going to be by far the largest, 80-90% is going there, and these other taxing authorities that we don't control. But I would at least like to lead the charge, like Commissioner Withington has said, let's get this down as low as we can. I'd like to eliminate it. So that's kind of why every year, and for the last 3 years, I've voted to lower this. I don't like property tax. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's ethical for government to tax the way they do. I'm fine with a consumption tax, and if I don't want to buy that Pepsi, then I don't, and I don't have to pay the tax. But if I want to buy that, then I know I'm going to have to pay the tax. But I'm going to pay it one time, and I'm done, and I own it. So I want to own my own Pepsi. I want to own my own house, and not have to pay the government over and over again for it. So that's kind of, it's a philosophical thing on why I think we should keep driving this down.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Commissioner Nolte said and what we talked about last week, that I think we had a good process on this, good conversation about it, and I am grateful to all of my colleagues for making this a measured approach rather than a more dramatic approach that may have more significant effects. And so grateful to those of you who kept it measured and prudent. I think that's the right way to go. That being said, Commissioner Wagner is absolutely correct. There are, you bring less money in, that means less money to go out. There's no such thing as a free lunch, as they say. I was reading the other day, I guess our friends in Europe say there's no such thing as free cheese except in the mousetrap. I thought that was even better. Clever. Maybe we adopt that. I think this is a good measured approach, and again, appreciate the process, working with y'all on it. Thanks.
Commissioner Withington, I don't see anyone else who's getting ready to. Are you prepared to close? I'll go ahead and I want to make one comment, then I'll go to you. You make your comment, and then if no one else rings in, and then we can go ahead and go to a close on this. I think one of the things that sometimes gets lost in this, and I appreciate Commissioner Carpenter for bringing this up, and that is, I think as we develop policy, one of the best things that we can do is be predictable, be measured, and be reasoned about this stuff. Nobody wants to see a government who acts in a capricious manner, and so it would be irresponsible to say, eliminate a tax just right off the bat. However, as we work it down, we start to acclimate to that, and we are able to make sure that our services that we deliver, that people depend on, are properly funded. So I think this commission is doing a good job of walking that line. I think we're not going to be, it's not necessarily going to be unanimous, but and I said it last time, I'll say it again. I think while I'm not in agreement with Commissioner Wagner on how this thing is done, I think I am totally comfortable, and I would rather have Commissioner Wagner here saying, hey, be careful of this. I can't vote for it because I have these concerns. I think we are quite lucky to have someone who will give us these, the other side of the story, and allow us to work through this thing in a considered manner and bring up things that are not necessarily what we would bring up. So thank you, Commissioner Wagner, for your comments. With that, if there are any other comments, I see no one on the board. I'm going to go to Commissioner Withington for his comments and for closure. Commissioner Withington.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I hate property taxes too. You never really own anything. Like Commissioner Johnson was saying, you know, if you don't pay your taxes, government comes and takes it regardless of if your house is paid off. But before I close, you guys talk a lot about Pepsi. Go with me to Dollar General, get RC Cola. You can buy 2 of them instead of 1. So, and with that, I close.
Very well. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Withington? Yes. Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
No.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. That brings us to our final issue on this evening's regular agenda. That would be 2025 Ordinance 22. I'm sorry, Mr. Administrator, that's the second time I walked over you on that. I didn't mean to do that.
No, 2025 Ordinance 22, setting outside levies for 2025. We have Auditor Victor Hobart will be discussing it more. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is essentially the bottom half of this presentation before you are 3 outside agencies. Same story as the road and bridge levy where you have the mandatory rollback of about 6%, but it does still yield a 4%, over 4% increase in revenues. Had a request at the last meeting to make sure we've reached out and invited all the agencies to get feedback from them. We did do that. We have confirmation from all 3 that they do want the ceiling. Their boards have met and would like to do so. We do have a representative tonight from DDRB with Sonia Bennett, the administrator for the Disabilities Board. Some of the other boards, they had some illnesses with staff, weren't able to make it. But that is the direction that we got from all of them. And so I am happy to answer any questions about those.
Are there any questions or comments? Sonia, would you like to make any comments or?
No, I'll just say that.
Come on up and use the mic, please.
The discussion on no property tax, from the personally, I'd like not to have to pay property tax, but from the DDRB board's perspective and the people we serve, how would you compensate that? I don't know that you could charge enough sales tax and guarantee that we could provide the services for people. There are almost 1,600 people in Clay County that are served by this levy. So I know they all are grateful and their families are grateful and our board is appreciative. So that's the only thing I would say. I understand the philosophical part of it, but there is also a real practical side to that. And the money that this board gets serves people who would not, they'd probably be homeless and who knows what else, you know. So there is a lot of good that comes from that too. So thank you.
Just one moment. I just want to say that I'm familiar, as you know, with the DDRB and the work they do. They do great work. The other thing that I would point out that is in contrast to the outside agencies is I believe those taxes were all levied by votes of the people.
Exactly right.
So this was the people, not government saying you shall do this, but it was a vote of the people saying yes, we would tax ourselves for these particular purposes. And when you look at the 3 items under outside agencies, I understand the saying that there's no end of good you can do with other people's money. However, we are talking about mental health, which is an obvious issue. We're talking about developmental disabilities, which of course is your board. There is no one who has a developmental disability who volunteered to be in that position. No. And senior services, which I am reluctant to say that I am certainly in that category.
Me too.
We don't choose to be seniors. The alternative doesn't seem very good in my estimation whatsoever, but we're talking about the people of this county who have decided to levy the taxes on themselves for these very specific services.
Exactly right. And that really serves the most vulnerable people in our county actually too. So we're grateful. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, and just to clarify, my comments on eliminating property taxes, that doesn't necessarily mean that we eliminate funding for these services. We just have to find alternate ways to do that. And just so you know, the Children's Services receives somewhere between 12 to 13 million dollars a year. So basically all three of these combined, they receive, and it's not through property taxes, it's through a sales tax. Voted on by the people, so the people decided. So there's other ways, but just, you know, my suggestion isn't to get rid of these services. And if you heard me last week, I'm a big proponent of mental health. I think we failed as a society there, and we can do better. But with all these, I fully support them, but I think we need to find other ways to fund them in the future. Property taxes ain't going away anytime soon, so don't have to worry right now. But certainly, if we were able to get there, we'd find other ways to manage these.
Further discussion? Is there a motion? Commissioner Withington.
I make a motion to approve 2025 Ordinance 22.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025 Ordinance 22. Discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll. I'm sorry, you're recognized to close.
I close.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush through this. It's getting to be kind of late, so I need to slow it back a bit. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Withington,
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. That brings us to the conclusion of our regular agenda. Next, our county administrator comments. Mr. Administrator.
No additional comments tonight.
Okay. That brings us to commissioner comments. Commissioner Withington, we'll start this end of the table this evening. Okay. Commissioner Lawson. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I just wanted to wish my sister Carrie Ann a happy birthday. Hers was yesterday. And my sister Christine's, whose birthday is tomorrow. And to the earlier comment about RC Cola, I have heard that people drink such things. As I always say, though, nobody's perfect, and neither am I. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I just want to update on EDC board meeting that took place, was that yesterday morning? We attended. So EDC had a meeting where they redid their bylaws, and I don't think all the commission realized it, but the result of those bylaws changes, we essentially got kicked out of the EDC. They've taken away all our votes. They've passed the bylaws by, before it used to be we had the presiding commissioner position on the executive board, and we had 3 of us on the regular board. We all had votes. They decided in the bylaws that they're going to change. They're going to take, they said this is a compromise, that they're going to remove the presiding commissioner from the executive board, and the 3 of us that are on the general board can stay on the general board, but we don't have a vote. So that's what's happened to EDC. I was pretty disappointed in some of the disparaging thing that even their executive director said about the commission. I thought it was very unprofessional and quite frankly out of line and not accurate. But it was apparent that they didn't want to try to work with us for whatever reason. So, but that's fine. We figured that's kind of been the case off and on for several years now. And I was also a little disappointed. Commissioner Lawson and I were pretty vocal at that meeting and kind of gave our opinion, and we're the only 2 that voted no against that. Kind of wish we could have heard from our presiding commissioner, who was there also, and I wish he would have voted no to stick up for the rest of us, but that didn't happen. So I was a little disappointed in that, but I think that's kind of why we got in this situation to begin with. So with that, now you guys are up to date on what happened with the EDC bylaws.
Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Carpenter.
Thank you. So I had a whole bunch of Ronald Reagan quotes to read us tonight, but it's a little late. But just so you know, I've got them, and I'm going to probably do it next week. So you've been warned. Thanks.
We could make you an honorary young Republican if you would like. And I hope you're taking the compliment that I'm referring to as young. So please keep that in mind. Yes, I was at the EDC meeting. I wish the commissioners had stayed for the entire thing. There was a presentation on what was accomplished and what was going on. It was it was pretty impressive on all the things that were going on, and it was a little bit, there was a little bit of a discussion happening there, but the ultimatum that basically said that the EDC had to acquiesce to the demands of the commission were not taken. So with that, we are adjourned.